Well, aren't you just looking radiant today? This is MisterStubstep, and today I'm pleased to show off my entire full Radiant collection set in PSA 10. I just started slowly buying one every single month. They are very affordable, easily accessible. None of these are super rare. They're fairly easy to grade, and they're all from modern sets, but these are coming from sets that I probably wasn't going to get all of their master sets, so I figured I'd get this subset all in PSA 10 for my collection, and it's a pretty cool one at that. So we will just go through all these, and at the end I'll showcase all of them, and we'll go from there. So the first set that it starts out with is Astral Radiance, which is very appropriate to start out with the Radiant Pokemon. Within Astral Radiance, and all of the Radiant Pokemon featured are shiny Pokemon, and they can only be a one of within your deck. So usually they come with some, a really great attack or a good ability or something like that to make them worthwhile, but a lot of them aren't really that good. So we do have the Radiant Heatran. What I plan to do is put what I paid for these down below, and then maybe what they go for now in a PSA 10, since a lot of these it's been a while, and maybe their raw price as well. Once again, each set only really has 3. If it's a set that has them, there is 1 promo, and they're fairly easy to pull. I think every booster box had like at least 1 or 2 if you opened up a booster box, so they were fairly easy to get. But yeah, let me know which Radiant is your favorite. This one is probably the most used Radiant card besides Radiant Charizard, but Radiant Greninja with that Concealed Cards ability just has so much versatility, as well as the Moonlight Shuriken attack. I know Greninja EX just came out within the new set, so then that's also another great Pokemon to have. So a lot of good Greninja cards lately and good Greninja artworks, but this is a beautiful one, and being able to do 90, it was, really good, especially against like Lost Box decks or any decks that don't use Manaphy. We have the Radiant Hawlucha. Yeah, I wish this one was better, but I mean, it's cool. Shiny Hawlucha looks really neat, so I'll give him that. We have the Radiant Venusaur within the Pokemon Go set. So it was kind of cool to have all the starters with the Radiant Pokemon within the Pokemon Go set. Overall, the Pokemon Go set was still kind of lackluster, but it had Radiance, it had a little stamp, it had the peelable cards, so overall can't really complain too much. The Sunny Bloom is kind of decent because you can draw cards at the end of your hand. If you run any decks where you're only able to do something if you have 1 card in your hand or no cards in your hand, Radiant Venusaur can kind of come in clutch, so you at least have some type of draw engine. We have the Radiant Charizard. This is probably the second most popular Radiant card used in decks nowadays. None of the Radiant cards have rotated out of standard format yet, so but this one with the Combustion Blast, it's a really good cleanup attacker for the very end of the game. A lot of lost box decks use it, but a lot of other decks use it too. It's pretty versatile as just, the final revenge killer within a game. I have the Radiant Blastoise. I've seen people use this a few times, but once again, it's not nearly as good as some of the other Radiant cards that we've already gone over. And Shiny Blastoise kind of freaks me out, being purple. We have the Radiant Gardevoir, which actually I used a little bit in some of the decks that I played. It's not the best, but all of your Pokemon take 20 less damage from attacks from your Pokemon V. Obviously, V Pokemon are nearly out of standard format, so not super useful. But Curlia is my favorite Pokemon, so using a Radiant Gardevoir in my deck was kind of cool. Radiant Sneasler. We have moved into Lost Origin now. Radiant Sneasler isn't too bad for those poison decks. Excuse me, just had some Cuban food for dinner. And yeah, no, with the new stadium finally that came out, and then a lot of other decks that do poison, it's not bad. I have Radiant Steelix. Shiny Steelix looks so awesome. Instead of being silver, it's a good, nice gold color. And I've seen some meme decks use this because you can do Destructive Finish. Discard cards from the top of your deck until only 1 card remains. This attack does 30 more damage for each energy card you discard in this way. So you just pile up a deck with a ton of energy and use that, and it can be kind of trolly and funny, but yeah. Radiant Serena is another one that has seen some usage with that Elegant Heal. Once during your turn, may heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. I mean, who knows, maybe with Dragapult coming out, Dragapult EX, and a lot more of those spread decks, Radiant Serena might see some more play. Not sure. And we've moved into Silver Tempest with the last card. We have the Radiant Alakazam, another one that sees a good amount of use. This might be, would this be the 3rd most used? I haven't seen like usage statistics, but I'd be curious if this was the 3rd most used. But Radiant Alakazam is pretty good with the Painful Spoons, and then it also can attack as well. But being able to move damage counters around, I know a lot of decks, like control decks or decks that try to trap you in the active spot, you can keep moving damage counters off of the active Pokemon, so knocking things slowly on the deck or on the bench, which can be kind of useful. Got the Radiant Jirachi. I've seen this in some luck-based decks, but it involves some coin flips And with Astral Misfortune, if you flip 2 heads, you just get an instant knockout, which is pretty cool. And Radiant Jirachi does look mighty fine there. We have the other artwork of the Radiant Charizard, which I prefer this one way more. This one is from Crown Zenith. We've now entered Crown Zenith, the last set to feature Radiant Pokemon. And yeah, Combustion Blast is still great, and that Radiant Charizard is an awesome artwork. I have the Radiant Charjabug. I feel like this is kind of a random one to have a Radiant Pokemon of, but also kind of cool. That shocking block. I've never really seen anybody use the Radiant Charjabug, but Radiant Charjabug definitely stands out amongst the regular Charjabug. We have the Radiant Eternatus. It was kind of unfortunate that this one came out in Crown Zenith, as V cards were already starting to rotate out. I feel like this came out earlier in the format. Using that Climactic Gate could have been pretty wild, just pulling or being able to bench 2 VMAX as soon as you put this card on the bench. Like, imagine if this was around when Scoop Up Net was still around. Oh my goodness. That'd be pretty wild. But that is the last set card for Radiant cards. And then the one promo, which is, this is the final one that I purchased, and I showed it off in my most recent videos, is the Radiant Eevee. This one has a super high population report. Ooh, maybe I'll have shown population reports too. This one has a super high population report, but it's still decently expensive. This one or one of the Charizards might be the most expensive Radiant card to purchase, but they're all fairly affordable. I think they usually run in between, you can get them for like $20 to $50. Maybe this one's like slightly over 50, but overall, a great collection to have. So I'm gonna lay all these out. So we have 16 Radiant cards in total. This is the full collection. Let me know which Radiant card is your favorite. Let me know which Pokemon you wish would have had a Radiant form. Maybe towards the second half of Scarlet and Violet, we'll get another type of subset like this. I know we have the illustration rares and we have all the A-specs, but I'm curious to see if anything else comes out like this. These cards do have a nice, interesting holo pattern with the crossing and everything there. I do really like that type of holo pattern. It's really cool. And then, of course, all the shiny Pokemon as well. So overall, this was a great, fun collection to put together. And I'm glad I can finally put it to rest. And now I guess I'll just focus on getting a bunch of Curlia slabs. But that is all I have for this video. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you have a full Radiant collection. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.